Yeah, g'day, BCT PCP here, and today's video is about this question: is there such a thing as an acceptable air leak, and if so, does it matter? Okay, what you see here are two different PCP air systems. We've got a pistol here, and this is an air system from a rifle, a single shot rifle. So let's see which system has the biggest number of O-rings and which one has the least number of O-rings. Well, this one here clearly has dozens of O-rings, and this one here has a few O-rings. Fitting to drink a cup of Turkish coffee. This is a Turkish produced pistol. This is the Reximex RP. This is a 22 caliber pistol. It's offered in .177 caliber as well, but this one is the 22 caliber version. And of the 22 and .177 caliber versions, there are different energy outputs depending on the country for where that pistol is marketed. So if you're in a country which restricts the dual output, then you're going to have the lower dual output weapon as opposed to the higher dual output weapon. The one which is at the higher level is supposed to be around about 15 joules. This is an air bottle, and part of the system actually, because it's not just an air bottle, this is a valve system in here. This tank is off an old Air Force Air Guns rifle. It's 200 bar in here. There is no regulator on the rifle, so when this valve is actuated, 200 bar of pressure will be applied, will come out of this valve for the given amount of air. On this particular pistol, however, this is 250 bar, this cylinder, but this part here consists of the regulator, and this will regulate the pressure. There is no gauge on the regulator, so there's no visual indication about what that regulator pressure is. So a while back ago, which was basically last year, got some pretty high temperatures. This was fully charged up at 250 bar. This was fully charged up at 200 bar. This is never kept on the rifle. This is not actuated, even if it is kept in the actual system, air system. However, this is, if there's pressure on this, high pressure on this, there is pressure on the regulator at all times when this cylinder is pressurized. So what happened was we got some really high temperature, and this developed a slow leak. Actually, when I first noticed it, there was almost no air left in here. I was really worried. This system here, on the other hand, has a burst disc, which is in this hole here. Let's take a look at that. So essentially what that means is there's no chance of any violent explosion from this, because if this becomes overpressured from the heat, this disc will burst here. Okay. This system, on the other hand, does not have any burst discs. And so what I suspect happened was that somewhere inside of here, there developed a slight amount of damage to an O-ring. It has to be an O-ring in there, and it developed this slow leak. So how much is this leak? Is it worthwhile pulling this thing apart to get at the O-ring? Now, there are dozens and dozens of O-rings on here. So I determined the leak because that's important to know what is the leak rate. Is it so much that if you put soapy water around various different joints on the weapon that you're going to see bubbles coming off? No, it was not like that. So over a 13-hour period, when I filled this to 200 bar at 25 Celsius, it dropped to 170 bar. So if you do the simple mathematics for that, 13 hours is to lost 30 bar over 13 hours, you're going to work out that it's going to be approximately 2.3 bar. It lost 2.3 bar of pressure over 13 hours. Well, I will tell you that's really nothing, because you're not going to be shooting this thing for over 13 hours constantly. So by filling this this leak does not warrant pulling this apart for the labor involved and the number of O-rings to actually track it down, because it will be very difficult to track down the slow leak. You'd have to replace every O-ring to be sure. So my point here is that when you have determined that you've got a slow leak, you need to, or certainly if it's a really rapid leak, you definitely have to have it serviced, whether it's a rifle or a pistol. But if it's a really slow leak, you should determine the leak rate first before panicking and see whether or not it will affect the performance of the weapon. And this slow leak here of 2.3 bar per hour is not going to do anything to this whatsoever regarding performance. So there you go. That's just a quick tip, my view and opinion and experience on slow leaks on PCP systems.